The 2019 NFL Draft concludes, and we have Vikings General Manager Rick Spielman here to talk with us about it. Now, Rick, a man of his word, you said, Rick, that this was one of the deeper classes that you can remember, having graded with more draftable players on the board maybe than you've seen in a while. And what do? You come away with the most draft picks the Vikings have had since the 7-round format. 12 names that I have to remember to bring up in this interview. Thanks a lot.
Well, you got to get paid too for what you do.
I guess, yeah. And so I'm sure you weren't surprised with how things unfolded on day 3, coming away with that many picks and being pleased with who was on the board when you were on the clock.
Yeah, again, I give a lot of credit to our scouts and to our coaches. They put a tremendous amount of time, of effort, of energy into really honing in, and we try to study the backboard, the bottom round area as much as we do the front board. I'm not always going to get a chance to see a lot of those guys. I try to listen during the meetings and pull up some clips on the guy just to get a feel for him. But, you know, Jamal Stevenson and the rest of our crew and working with our coaches, they do a great job working together, trying to identify guys that we are going to be definitely interested in.
Yeah. Well, you started things off on day 3 by taking an offensive lineman again, and one from Oklahoma, Drew Samia. Now, as college football fans know, Oklahoma's had some pretty good offenses and quarterbacks, which probably means they've had some pretty good linemen, and you got one of them.
Yeah, no, we spend a lot of time with him at the Senior Bowl. Got an opportunity to visit with him as one of our formal interviews down at the Combine. And we felt very strongly about all the physical traits that are going to fit in the zone scheme that we're going to run. And I think, you know, spending as much time as we did on the offensive line this year, and spending it with Kevin Stefanski and Rick Dennison and Kubiak, Gary Kubiak, and our scouts, and just getting clinicked on specific things they're looking for. And when you sit there and listen to the coaches read on players and then the scouts read on players, because we didn't know what we were going to be last fall. So as we sit there and adjust, and okay, maybe this guy wasn't going to fit in the previous scheme, but he's going to fit in this scheme. So we made some adjustments as we went through, and that's why we spent the last 3 weeks together, and felt all these guys, and even Drew, is going to fit what exactly we're looking for.
Yeah. After that, you go with linebacker Cameron Smith. Now, I'm impressed with this pick because, I mean, you got George Payton wanting to draft Anthony Barr and Eric Kendricks. So you went to the other school in Los Angeles. You went to USC and got Cameron Smith.
Yeah, great kid. He also was down at the Senior Bowl. You know, very productive in college, very smart, very good football player. You can cross-train him probably at all 3 linebacker positions. He's going to excel on special teams for you. And so there was a little bit of a run there in the 5th round on linebackers, but we felt his versatility to play all 3 positions, his ability to play on special teams, and just was a productive player in college. So thought that we had great value there when we were able to land him.
I know how much you value guys who just like to go out and compete. You've referenced the Senior Bowl twice already. There's another college all-star game, the East-West Shrine game, which played a role in this draft for you because that's where you sort of found Armin Watts and Oli Udoh, 2 guys that you drafted that were at the East-West Shrine game that Vikings coaches got their hands on.
Yeah, and our coaches, a lot of our young coaches that coached in that game, and we had, I think, 5 or 6 of our coaches down there actually working with these kids for a week. And when they came back, we tried to identify guys that they thought really stuck out to them, or guys that they wanted to work with, thought that they had a chance to develop. So as we went through the draft meetings, these 2, Watts and Ole, definitely stuck out and felt, you know, very strongly about their potential to develop. And the one thing that's a huge advantage when they were down there at the East-West game is you're actually coaching them in practice. You're seeing how they respond. Can they make corrections? You're in the classroom with them. Can they learn? Do they retain the next day what you taught them in and installed the previous day? So there's huge advantages to us being able to spend, or coaches being able to spend that much time with these kids while they're down there.
You did a good job of spreading the love out to all the different positions on day 3. So the next 2 I want to bring up, one is listed as a safety, Marcus Epps, And then you also got a corner from Texas, Chris Boyd. What'd you see in those two guys?
Yeah, Marcus Epps is an athletic safety, very instinctual, is willing to come up in the run. He's going to be an outstanding special teams player as he develops as a safety. And Chris Boyd was another one down at the Senior Bowl, and spent some time with him down at the Senior Bowl. Very good athlete. He checks all the boxes from the athletic standpoint. Very aggressive in run support. There are some things technically that he has to clean up. But as we get in these later rounds and try to identify these players, they may not be polished products yet, but our coaches have a pretty good history and are outstanding at taking some guys that have the athletic skill set to play in the schemes we run and developing them.
Yep.
And we've had a lot of success doing that.
Really productive receiver from Oregon, Dylan Mitchell, I believe led the conference in receiving yards last year and had 10 touchdowns. Another wide receiver you also took back-to-back, Olabisi Johnson from Colorado State, who, as college football fans know, Colorado State's had some pretty good receivers come through there, and he's one of them. Yeah,
I think as we got down in the 7th rounds, you know, our analytics team does a great job identifying the athletic portion of these players. Both very good players that we felt, the coaches and scouts felt strongly about both of those players. And we felt very fortunate where we're at. Let's go out and what's the best athletes on the board left?
Yep.
And the most productive football players on the board left. And so they just both happen to be receivers.
Yeah, and finally on the draft picks, in the 7th round, your final pick was Austin Cutting, a long snapper from Air Force, and we had a conversation with him via FaceTime. He was a fun guy to talk to, a pretty interesting background.
Yeah, no, I got to give a lot of credit to Muff and Ryan Ficken, our special teams coach, went out and worked out all the punters and the kickers, and they went out and worked about 5 or 6 long snappers. They went out and did private workouts with these guys, spent time with them, and they came back and had rave reviews on the workout they had with Austin. So he was a guy that had some teams that really committed significant amount of money to him. We were able to land him with the last pick in the 7th round, and I think by able to have all those picks, when there is someone that potentially can be a player for you down the road, that it gives you an opportunity to draft them instead of trying to compete with it in the free agent market. So very excited, and just like all the positions, we're just trying to get the best players in here, get the best 90 in here, let them go out there and compete, and so we can pick the best 53 players.
All right, so in this process, up next you have undrafted free agency, then rookie minicamp, right?
Yeah, we're finishing up undrafted free. We got most of them signed right now.
Great.
We'll be back in tomorrow, which is getting ready to bring in another 40 or 50 guys for rookie minicamp. A lot of those will be on a tryout basis and see what we can dig out of there. So it's, and then 2 weeks from now, I know our scouts and George Payton and Jamal will be down at the Blesto meetings, and we'll get started already on next year's draft.
And you guys had some gear in the draft room today honoring Scott Studwell. You got the shirt on.
Yeah.
I have the hats right here. You guys had this hat in there too. Pretty cool. I'm sure you guys had a nice little moment at the end of the draft there.
Yeah, Scott. We did something. Scott meant so much to this organization, meant so much to all of us.
Yeah.
And I don't think there will ever be another person who had as much impact on the Minnesota Vikings as Scott Studwell, not only as a player, but as a front office exec. And very emotional on his last draft. I know he'll always be a part of this. But, you know, to put in 42, 43 years of your life into one organization, that doesn't happen very often, if it ever happened before. And not only a unique scout, unique player, but even a better person.
Well, yeah, and now that he won't be doing it with you next year, I can't wait to read his mock draft before next year's draft. That's going to be great. I'm sure he's going to be
We're going to send him to Las Vegas at a reward, so he can sit there and we'll call him and tell him
he'll be
we'll
real interested in doing that. Yeah. Thanks for your time and all the work on the draft. Congratulations on getting it finished, and good luck next week at rookie minicamp, all right?
Thank you.
All right, the 2019 NFL Draft is over. For more on the Vikings draft picks, make sure you stay tuned right here to Vikings.com.